Now I would like to start the debate competition. Before I start, I would like to introduce you with the judges. There is our Honorable Kabi Sir, ECA Coordinator, our Muhammad Nur Nabi Sir, Head of English Department, and also Shabab Nawaz Sir, O-Level Coordinator. Now I'm going to tell the rules and regulations about the competition. You will get 3 minutes to deliver your speech. You will get a warning bell at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and you will also get a final bell at 3 minutes. You can only discuss about your given topic. You shouldn't be talking about any sort of racism, religion, or politics. You will be judged according to your clarity, logic, English, posture, body language, eye contact, time management, pronunciation, and rebuttal. I would like to call the participants on the stage, grade 8 girls. Today we are having a brilliant students who will compete in this debate competition and share their views about the given title, Video Games Are Too Violent. To support this topic, I would like to call Musarat Tanzim Isha to deliver her speech.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My honorable judges, respected teachers, dear audience, and my fellow opponents. I'm Musarat Tanzim Isha, and I'm the first speaker, and our topic is Video Games Are Too Violent, and I stand for the motion. First, I'd like to explain what video game is. Video games is a computer games designed mainly for entertainment purposes. A video game console is an electronic machine designed to play video games, and displays such as a computer, monitor, and television is a primary feedback device. The main input device is a controller input device. This game can be played in television, mobile phones, and computer. Our question is, are video games too violent? Yes, video games are violent. The effect of video games have hit on young minds as many as 79% of kids as age of 7 to 17 play video games, contributing to $21.3 billion domestic video games industry. More than half of top 50 selling video games contains violence. It is already pretty scary being a human that the young people are playing such inhumanly violent video games. In fact, the fact that they are called video games itself is really strange, since they are total representation of what not to do, and killing zombies doesn't make it better. It is about time the most civilized species on the planet make better use of time, money, and technology. As such as 3D animation software used to make such a game, young kids are taught that violence is atrocity expected for their thoughts of remain on it. And now those batch of kids are slaughtering simulated human and experiencing wartime things and stealing cars. Seriously, they are plain sad. 97% of kids started as young as 11 beginning to play violent video games. In US, up to $11.7 billion was calculated all over the region that money was paid on domestic violent video games. Violent video games were blamed for school shooting, bullying, violence towards women, and parents of students. In recent years, games have become more and more realistic for gamers. This has proven to be violent video games already have the blood and gore, but now it looks more realistic than ever. Now it has been noticed that aggression level increased to 90% of the students that participated. Video games can teach the right weapons to use and how to use them. We are showing our future how to kill each other rather than teaching them how to love each other. Video games are too violent that affects our minds too. So with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you our speaker, thank you judges, and thank you all. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much. To start against this topic, I would like to call Sayyida Fatima Afnan. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi
judges, and audience for coming, and gentlemen, and good morning. Lovely to see you all here together. Our today's topic is Are video games violent? I am Saida Fatima Afna speaking against the motion. Dear audience, I would like to open my speech with a quote, which is, if people were influenced by video games, then the majority of Facebook users would be violent by now. As my opponent has said, that video games are violent or not. Yes, video games are violent. Let me start my first argument. Video games are violent. Video games do not cause violent behavior. There is no scientific, statistic-backed research supporting the idea that video games lead act to brutality. Video games may play, violent people may play video games, but video games do not cause violence. However, this misguided theory reveals after a shooting at high school in Parkland, Florida, left 17 people dead. Politicians declared video games for corrupting young people's mind and inciting violent behavior. Days later, President Donald Trump said during a meeting, Safety in School, I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts. Christopher Ferguson, a psychologist, points to research that video games may have some positive impact on young children. Video games can improve visual selective attention of children. Not much, but even if it is only a little bit, it is still beneficial. Video games can teach problem-solving skills. It inspires interest in history, culture, and also video games provide an opportunity to learn. So dear audience, moderators, judges, I believe all my argument evidences that my video games are not violent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call Fatima Kaiser to stand for the motion.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Honorable judges, respected teachers, and my dear classmates. I am Fatima Kaiser from grade 8. I am here today to present my speech on the topic, video games are too violent. I stand here for the motion. Nowadays, playing video games is the most popular pastime activities among young people. Children of tender age are also getting involved in such activities. Unfortunately, most of these games contain violence and aggression. Video games may cause aggression based on difficulty and violence. Playing violent video games may lead children to feelings of anger and aggression, especially if they lose the game or have anger issues. Researchers have found out that violent video games may be related to bullying, which is a risk factor for more violent behavior. Like my opponent said, they believe that playing video games is a normal, healthy way to release stress, but eventually some of them reach a point where they can no longer control their behavior and it turns into an addiction. The World Health Organization classified gaming disorder as mental health disorder this year. Kids exposed to violent video games are more likely to pull the trigger in real-life situations, as they are taught that killing and shooting is the solution to many problems. If you look into investigation reports of mass shootings at schools and universities from all over the world, you will find that most of the shooters were somewhat bullied by others. Playing video games was their ultimate comfort, and they resorted to shooting and killing people. The instructors of the game often use curses to indicate the gamers what to do, which is highly inappropriate for children who might be playing the games. Also, there are inappropriate content that should not be in a game played by minors. Honorable judges, I want to share a story here today. A mother and her daughter drove to school, and the daughter noticed a new armed guard outside her school. She started to panic and said, "What if it's a trick and he's not a real guard and is welcomed in our school with a loaded gun to kill us all?" This is what is happening in this world right now. The violence in video games and shootings has led our children, as well as adults, to a point where they're mentally stressed over. To sum it all up, video games promote violence, inappropriate language, addiction, degradation of women, and make it difficult for some to see the difference between what is reality and what is a virtual game. These games introduce children to real-world weapons where guns are highly detailed. We all thank you for giving me the stage.
Thank you so much. I would like to call Noreen Chaudhary to stand against the motion.
And Assalamu alaikum. I am Noreen Chaudhary Aisha speaking against the motion. Let me start my very first argument. It is a widespread concern that violent video games spread Violent video games promote aggression, reduce pro-social behavior, increase impulsivity, and interfere with cognition as well as mood of its players. As my opponent has said, thousands of people are playing video games. Do all of them become bully or aggressive people? No, they don't. Games don't cause real-world violence. They're impartial fun, so we don't have to think about the issue. When a child plays a game such as the Incredible Machine, Angry Birds, or Cut the Rope, he trains his brain to come up with creative ways to solve puzzles and other problems in short bursts. Actually, what I've tried to prove is that children are not always playing video games in a bad way. They even use their brains and try their best to win by their creativity. About a test conducted on an amount of teens from age 13 to 17 reported that neither the teens or their parents noticed any increase in aggressive behavior that could be tied to violent video games. Research also shows that yes, playing did on occasion result in angry outbursts, sometimes between two teens playing against one another. But the researchers chalk it up as normal behavior that arises during competitive play. In fact, playing video games actually helps aggressive people release their attention towards something or someone that is not real. Dear moderator and judges, until now I was only defending the issue that video games are violent, but now let me give you proof that it can be good for the children as well. According to American Psychological Association, playing video games improves your attention span, visual processing, memory reasoning, and perception. It also proves the player's capability of thinking in different dimensions. Video games prepare gamers to make smart decisions in split seconds, teaching them to deal with unexpected changes that might occur. It teaches young people how to cope with failures. A study in 2003 done by John Colwell at University of Westminster found that violent video games playing was associated with reduced aggression among Japanese youth. Studies have shown that video games, whether they are designed to be therapeutic or not, can be used to lower anxiety levels of those who suffer from chronic anxiety disorders. So our fellow opponents, the evidences that I've provided proves that video games are not violent, in fact are quite beneficial. How can you prove that video games are connected to violence? This is my question to my beloved sister. Dear audience, I believe you're agreed with me. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. I would like to call Ruwaida Ahmed Tahir to stand for the topic.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, dear respected judges and present audience. Like my team members already said that video games are violent. Yes, they actually are. There are thousands of young people starting as low as 6 play violent video games. First person shooting to robbing cars and even stealings, and even may reduce a crime. It is very bad for those people as it is even worse for the future. Considering how fast the technology is growing and how real these games are becoming makes young people think that their life is a video game. Video games have been blamed for school shooting, increasing in bullying and violence towards women, such as Grand Theft Auto. You can rob and kill innocent people. When kids grow up, they could end up doing this as well. They play too much of video games. Why should parents waste their money on these games, which are basically good for nothing? Criticize argue that these games desensitize players to violence, reward players for stimulating violence, and teach children that violence is an acceptable way to resolve conflicts. But the truth is that video games provide a safe outlet for angry and aggressive feelings and may reduce a crime. Many studies control 2 factors that contribute to children becoming violent, such as family history and mental health. Plus, most studies do not follow the children over a long time of periods. In 1998, video games only contained 5% of violence. Now, if you ask a researcher, he would tell you that this 5% now reached to 25% of violence. What if guns were available in our country? This 25% of violence will reach to 70% of violence. In 2016, This game, Blue Whale, was known as the suicide game. This game contained violence, threat, and harm because it was very much challenging. A lot of teenagers committed suicide because of this game. Do you realize what is happening in our today's generation? These games contain suicide, harm, and threat. Now, Fortnite, this game is inherently violent. The primary goal of this game is to kill all the players. And to get through that, you have to kill everyone. This raises one particular clear question about the gaming effect. Do violent video games lead to real life violence? Yes, they do. A New Zealandian terrorist attack happened, and the shooter was acting out the fantasy of a video game as he kills a lot of people. This is a proof to my beloved sister that yes, video games contain a lot of violence and it is harmful for everyone and most people. There may be a solution, and I believe that the solution is the parents. The parents need to spend time. The parents need to spend time for their children and give them more time to spend on the outside than they spend on the inside the house playing violent video games. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. I would like to call Mahdia Patwari to stand against the motion.
Honorable judges, moderator, audience, and my worthy opponents, a very good morning and assalamu alaikum. This is Mahdia Patwari standing against the motion. As my opponent has said that after playing video games, children starts robbing and their behavior changes. I totally disagree with my opponent. Just because you see killing does not make it more likely to kill someone else. There is no way someone would walk out of their house after playing GTA and robbing a police car and running over people. It all depends on family history and how you have been affected by people around you. Also, it can depend on your mental condition. Let me come to my first argument, which is how video games are not affecting rather than becoming their entertainment. It's simple. Video games ties in with fears that older voters harbor about digital culture and screen time, and it conveniently draws attention away from more complex societal concerns such as poverty, neglect, easy access to deadly firearms, and a violently confrontational political culture. There is just one problem. Despite years of research and hundreds of studies, there is no compelling evidence that video game violence causes real-life bloodshed. It's a dead end. Video games are just for entertainment. Our education system is designed in such a way where there is no time for the children to think about something else. They are busy with their studies. It's like they are to stay at school for a long period. Right after that, they're there to do coaching, and then they're to sit with their tutors. Dear moderator and judges, what I've tried to demonstrate, throughout my argument till now, what I've tried to demonstrate is that children are leading a robotic life. At the end of the day, can't they play video games as their entertainment? This is my question to our beloved sisters. I must say that our opponent didn't think about this. Let's move on to our next point, which will surely prove that video games are not violent. Yes, honorable moderator and judges, wow, 90% of the kids play COD. Have any of them become serial killers? Did they? They didn't, right? Still now, how can our opponent demand that this huge number of children can bring impactful changes in this circumstance? As my opponent has said that video games, for example, PUBG, Fortnite, and Blue Whale, they are harming children in today's society. Yes, I agree with my beloved sister, but now Blue Whale does not exist anymore. Blue Whale was made for committing suicide and attempting dares. So turning up the volume won't make your argument more convincing. In this circumstance, how do you think that video games are violent?
I would like to call the third component for standing for the topic.
Assalamu alaikum. Like my opponent teammate said, that video games solve problems. I agree to that, but does it solve all the problems? No, because it's more problems than it solves. Entertainment, educational improvements, improving in reading and learning skills. Only handful young people get the use of that. Like I said in my previous speech, a tourist in New Zealand took place and the shooter was acting out the fantasy of a video game. Yes, as he kills 21 people in a mosque. When he was actually live streaming, did you notice that? When I was watching it felt like I was watching a video game. Exactly. This is a huge proof for my beloved sisters that video games are really harmful and effective. Once a person starts playing a game, they won't be able to stop. And in order to finish a game, it would at least take 5 to 6 hours. This leads to addiction, and addiction leads to harm. Can you save those young people from violent video games? What I believe is that video games are violent and you can't ignore it because it's a virtual truth. It is reality. A lot of PUBG and Fortnite players won't agree with me, but it is the truth. A video game takes over you, your behavior, and your emotion. Once you win a game, you get excited, and if you lose it, you get angry. And once you lose it, you get angry. You control a game, and a game controls you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Mahdia Patwari is requested to come up on the stage to stand against the topic.
Assalamu alaikum, honorable moderator, judges, and audience. Thank you all for being with us. Yes, this is Mahdia welcoming all of you as the leader of the team. Yes, children do use their brain for solving to win the game. They don't only play video games, at least they use their brain. I strongly believe that we have been able to prove what we have said. I think our opponent is here only to win the debate, not to present the real picture. We are really confused that our opponent is saying this knowing or without knowing. All evidences, proofs given by my teammates and my logical rebuttal strongly proves that video games are not violent. Thank you.
Okay, now our fellow judge, Nurul sir, will declare the results of the students. Let's see who's the winner.
Okay, I have the results in front of me of the debate which has just concluded, and I would like to mention that the motion has failed, which means opposition has actually won this debate. Now, I'd also like to mention that we also choose who is the best speaker during the debate, and I'm very happy to announce Ruwaida Ahmed has been